Less than 5% of the Earth's surface has been excavated to a depth that would reveal what came before the civilizations we already know. The timeline of human history that appears in textbooks runs from scattered hunter-gatherers to the first cities of Mesopotamia around 3500 BC, with nothing organized or technically capable before that. We examine 7 pieces of physical evidence pointing toward advanced human activity that predates anything the official record accounts for. Among them, a megalithic complex in Turkey twice as old as Stonehenge and deliberately buried by the people who built it, a map drawn in 1513 accurately showing the Antarctic coastline 2 centuries before Antarctica was discovered, and a submerged city off the coast of India that ancient texts had been describing for thousands of years before anyone looked for it. Klaus Schmidt began excavating a hilltop in southeastern Turkey in 1994, and he spent the next 20 years revealing something that should not exist. Carved megalithic pillars stand in circular enclosures. The largest rise 6 meters tall and weigh up to 20 tons, and they are covered in detailed relief carvings of animals and human forms. Radiocarbon dating placed the oldest layers at approximately 9,600 BC, making the site around 11,600 years old, and predating agriculture, the wheel, and writing by several thousand years. Every model of human development held that monumental construction required settled agricultural society first, surplus food, division of labor, centralized authority, and Göbekli Tepe. Inverts that sequence entirely. Around 8000 BC, the people using the site intentionally filled it with debris, sealing the complex under meters of material in a process that required coordinated effort across a large group, and nobody has fully explained why. The site covers at least 90,000 square meters, and less than 5% of it has been excavated. Write in the comments where you're watching from. Curious to see how far this reaches. Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis completed a world map in 1513 using source charts he described as ancient. Some of those charts predate his own era by centuries. For 400 years it sat in the Topkapi Palace collection, largely unexamined. When researchers studied the map seriously, one feature produced immediate controversy. Along its southern edge, the map shows a landmass corresponding in shape and position to the Antarctic coastline. It even depicts mountain ranges that match geography now lying beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. Antarctica went undiscovered by European explorers until 1818, and that coastal geography has not been directly visible for an estimated 6,000 to 9,000 years. Charles Hapgood presented the map to a U.S. Air Force cartographic team in 1960, and their analysis concluded the source data reflected knowledge of the Antarctic region before glaciation covered it. Critics argue the southern landmass is a misidentification of South America's coastline, stretched and rotated, and that argument addresses some features. What it does not address is the accuracy of the coastal mountain ranges, which match seismic survey data collected in the 20th century and were unknown to any European cartographer working in 1513. Ancient Sanskrit texts, including the Mahabharata, describe Dwarka as a magnificent coastal kingdom submerged beneath the ocean after the death of Krishna, and for centuries, scholars filed it under mythology. That changed in 2001 when marine archaeologists from India's National Institute of Ocean Technology, conducting sonar surveys in the Gulf of Khambat, detected regular geometric structures on the seafloor at a depth of approximately 40 meters. Recovery operations brought up wood, pottery, and construction materials, with one wood sample returning a carbon date of approximately 9,500 years old, placing construction around 7,500 BC, at which point the Gulf of Khambat was dry land that flooded as the last Ice Age glaciers melted. The structures cover roughly 8 kilometers and show the grid layout associated with planned urban construction. Indian government archaeologists confirmed the find and its dating, And what the international coverage largely skipped over was the implication. A city of that age predates the earliest known urban settlements in Mesopotamia by 4,000 years. If this is the kind of history you want more of, subscribing helps us keep going. Greek sponge divers pulled a corroded bronze object from a Roman-era shipwreck near Antikythera in 1901. For decades, it sat in the Athens Museum because nobody could work out what it was. High-resolution tomographic scanning in 2006 confirmed the answer. At least 30 interlocking bronze gears, calibrated to track the movements of the sun and moon, predict solar and lunar eclipses on an 18-year Saros cycle, and display the position of the 5 planets known to ancient Greek astronomy. The shipwreck dates to approximately 70 BC, but the mechanism itself predates the ship by at least a generation, and nothing remotely comparable in mechanical complexity appears anywhere in the archaeological record for the next 1,000 years after it was built. Gearing of that precision does not emerge from nothing, and the technical knowledge that produced it left no other physical trace. Above Cusco in Peru, the fortress walls of Sacsayhuaman are built from limestone blocks weighing between 100 and 360 tons, fitted together without mortar at tolerances so tight that a sheet of paper cannot pass between them. Spanish chroniclers arriving in the 16th century recorded that the Inca themselves attributed the construction to a people who came before them, a race they called the Viracocha. Modern engineers have been unable to produce a mechanically plausible method by which blocks of that weight could have been transported from quarries up to 35 kilometers away and fitted to those tolerances using tools that the Inca period is recorded as possessing. The same polygonal dry stone construction appears at Ollantaytambo, Tiwanaku, and across dozens of Andean sites, always attributed to pre-Inca builders, always without a documented construction method, and always with the same result. Joints so precise they have survived earthquakes that leveled every Spanish colonial building constructed directly on top of them. Write in the comments which of these you find most convincing. The disagreement in the comments is always the most interesting part. Around 12,800 years ago, a period of rapid warming at the end of the last ice age reversed abruptly into a sudden return to near glacial conditions that lasted approximately 1,200 years, a period geologists call the Younger Dryas. In 2007, a team of researchers published evidence for a cosmic impact or airburst event at its onset. They reported a boundary layer of material found across 4 continents, containing nanodiamonds, platinum, and spherules consistent with extraterrestrial impact, alongside evidence of massive wildfires across North America at the same time. That boundary coincides with the extinction of megafauna across the Americas, the disappearance of the Clovis culture, and evidence of catastrophic erosion at sites including the Sphinx enclosure at Giza. A civilization existing before 12,800 years ago would have faced conditions capable of erasing most of its physical record within decades. The impact hypothesis has accumulated supporting evidence in more than 50 published studies since 2007. In the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, the Roman temple complex at Baalbek rests on a foundation platform the Romans did not build. Beneath their construction sit 3 stone blocks known as the Trilithon, each weighing approximately 800 tons and raised to a height of roughly 8 meters with mortarless precision. A 4th block, called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, lies near the quarry 1 kilometer away, weighing an estimated 1,000 tons and never moved. A 5th stone, discovered in 2014, weighs approximately 1,650 tons, making it the largest known worked stone block in the world. Moving an 800-ton block 1 kilometer and raising it 8 meters with ancient period technology has no documented method that holds up under engineering scrutiny. Roman engineers who built some of the most ambitious structures in the ancient world chose to construct their temple on top of this existing platform rather than lay their own foundation, which suggests they recognized what sat beneath them as something they could not replicate. 7 pieces of physical evidence sit outside the timeline history teaches. Göbekli Tepe places monumental construction 6,000 years before the conditions science said were necessary to produce it. The Piri Reis map shows a coastline that disappeared under ice before any known civilization could chart it. Dwarka records a planned urban grid 4,000 years before Mesopotamia's first cities. The Antikythera mechanism demonstrates engineering precision that vanishes from the record for 1,000 years after it was built. Sacsayhuaman's joints have outlasted every structure built on top of them. The Younger Dryas impact provides a mechanism capable of erasing a pre-existing civilization from the physical record almost entirely. And the Baalbek foundation stones remain without an explanation that fits the tools available to the cultures recorded as building there. Every item on this list is a physical object, a datable sediment layer, or a documented engineering problem without a documented solution. The timeline of human capability may not be wrong at the edges. It may be wrong in the middle, and the evidence has been sitting in plain sight for decades.